Hello and welcome to the Motocross Network. My name is Trevor and I'll be your host. In today's video, we're going to go through a wide variety of stories coming from this past weekend in our sport. The first one, not a great one. As you all know, Jerry Robin had a small crash and it resulted in some pretty bad injuries, career-ending injury, and we'll go through that. We're also going to look at RJ Hampshire, speak about some injury problems he's having himself that potentially are going to take him out of pro motocross for a while. We're also going to look at the latest that we know about Chase Sexton, his deal with KTM, negotiations on that. We're also going to go through a lot of other stuff in today's video, so let's get right into it. First, don't forget, if you want to support our work, head to the mxnetwork.store, check out our magazine. We cut off all of our sponsors and are now completely supported by viewers like you. So if you want to support us, head to the mxnetwork.store, grab a copy of our magazine. This is issue number 13. We also have issue number 12, 11. These are our most recent ones that we have on hand currently, but 14, 15, 16, I believe 17 now is even in production. Those will be arriving soon. So if you want to support us, go grab a magazine. Huge thanks to all of you who already did. The support means the world to us. All right, on to the first story of the day. We're going to start this video off in a pretty sad way. A lot of people online feel the same. Pretty much F our sport. It's a great sport, but at times like this, it's horrible. We know the risk involved, yet we're still surprised. Yeah, this is a pretty sad incident. It looked like nothing. But it progressively got more scary of a story. It started off as Jerry Robin crashed. Small crash. It didn't look that bad in practice. He ended up not moving. They had to red flag the practice, and then it just got scarier from there. We didn't hear much from him except that he got rushed to the hospital. All we really got for information was directly from his wife. Obviously, he wasn't posting. When he got to the hospital, he had to be rushed to emergency surgery for his back, and luckily, they did straighten out his back. Obviously, that's the injury he sustained from this crash. They did straighten out his back, but it didn't fix the main problem, which is he's paralyzed. So that's going to be a long journey to fixing that. So, privateer favorite Jerry Robin went down hard in yesterday's qualifying session at East Rutherford Supercross. Actually, this is 2 days ago now. I'm reading this article from yesterday, so it's a day off. Don't worry about that. The practice was red flagged and Robin was transported to the nearby hospital. Yesterday morning, he posted the following update, quote, "Well, this is a tough one to write. Had to get T3 to T9 fuse yesterday after the crash. The 3 into that rhythm was huge and no room for error. And unfortunately, when I was putting my foot back on the peg, the tip of my boot caught my rear brake pedal just barely. Was enough not to make it, and with how steep the transitions were, it threw me forward, landed headfirst into the 3-footer, and instantly went paralyzed. As of now, I'm belly button down paralyzed. Surgeon was able to completely straighten my spine, which is a huge positive, and there were some fragments that they got out of my spinal cord, and they had some they had to leave in there. We will see what this journey brings. I'm hopeful I can walk again. Going to be a hell of a tough road, and I'll just have to stay as positive as I can. Thank you so much to everyone that reached out. I really am thankful for all the love and support. Tough to make a tiny mistake like that and have my life change in the blink of an eye. Was riding really good this year, but unfortunately, it's part of the sport." So that's kind of the latest we know of Jerry Robin thus far. Such a sad story. It reminds me a lot of Jesse Nelson at Unadilla when he got paralyzed. Also, Brian Moreau. All 3 of these incidents involving riders getting paralyzed were all from small crashes that really didn't look like much, but turned out to be a career ender. I didn't know Jerry personally. I don't think I've actually met him in person, but from what I've heard from other riders and him online, obviously, he seemed like one of the good guys of the sport. So, of course, this has to happen to one of the good guys of the sport, one of the nicest guys in the pits. That's the luck people have, unfortunately. But yeah, horrible story. We're wishing him the best. Luckily, the science on this is getting better as time goes on. So hopefully he can walk again. I believe Brian Moreau can walk again. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for him to be able to walk again. But 99.9% chance he will never be racing again or riding again, which is unfortunate. But yeah, Jerry, we enjoyed having you at the races, and we're wishing you the best on this, man. Such an unfortunate situation. Good luck on your recovery, and if you want to support him, Road to Recovery is doing a thing for him right now. I'll be donating, that's for sure. So if you guys want to support him, I'm sure the hospital bills are going to be absolutely insane, astronomical from this. So if you want to support him, roadtorecovery.com, help him out. All right, now that we got that gut-wrenching story out of the way, we can move on to less of a gut-wrenching story, and that is regarding RJ Hampshire. He finished second this weekend, which is as good as he could really get because he didn't have anything for Hammaker. Hammaker was killing it this weekend. But what we're talking about with RJ Hampshire is his wrist. His wrist has been a problem since last year. He returned to racing in Pro Motocross last year for the final 2 rounds, Budds Creek and Ironman. Obviously, he didn't do good until Ironman. And then the playoffs were pretty rough until he ended up missing the last one, actually. So anyway, after the race, he spoke with Lewis Phillips of Vital MX and informed us that his wrist is still a problem. The plate in there is causing a lot of pain, and he said he's been going through a lot of pain throughout the season, but he's pushing through, obviously, because he's in the championship fight still. But regarding Pro Motocross, he plans on doing something about it. He wouldn't get down to the nitty-gritty details of the situation. I believe Lewis asked him, does that mean you're going to miss a couple rounds? Does that mean you're going to have surgery, whatever? And he just kind of said, I don't want to talk about it, but something's got to happen with this plate in my wrist. So we can only assume from that after Supercross, he will have surgery, get that plate removed.
Man, I'm just in the point where, like, physically, I'm not able to do what I want to do. And when it gets into a situation...
Because of the wrist?
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at. Like, it got away. Like, I wish I could have blitzed the whoops the whole main because I was good in them. And then, like, it just gets away from me and I can't save it. So, yeah, I had to change the jumping and I was not good jumping. Like, I just needed a new line jumping and it, like, dude, I would go 3 in and then smack and then just hope and pray to get out of it. So if I had a better line there, I think I could have made a little bit more of a push, but yeah, Seth was riding good, and he was he had a couple of mistakes there whenever I was making a charge, and I was like, oh, I'm in it, like I have a shot here, and then he pulled it back together. So didn't have enough.
Is the wrist getting better? Like from now to Detroit, are you seeing improvement?
Yeah, I mean, I had a red plate this weekend, so of course it feels a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, we'll have a plan after Salt Lake. That's all I can really say right now. It's like, yeah, it's not good. I can leave it at that. Like,
my mind is racing now. I'm feeling like there's more to this.
No, I mean, it's just, this sucks. Like, I can't do what I want to do. Like, I have a plate in there doesn't feel great. So
I'm guessing, I was going to say, is there anything you can do? But I'm guessing potentially that plate comes out and it might get on a good path.
I don't know yet. So to be honest with you, I'm not gonna say too much. Like, dude, I've rode the whole season right now, so I'm not making, whatever. Like, figure it out after Salt Lake. But I'll definitely have to do something because I won't make it outdoors full season like where I'm at. So I rode a little bit of outdoors this week, and
I don't believe it's a super long recovery time for a surgery like that, but I would presume he's going to miss at least 1 race. Let me actually look quick here. What is the recovery time for a plate being removed? It says 1 to 2 weeks of physical therapy, full recovery, 6 to 8 weeks, 3 to 6 months for full strength, but that's for the average person. I doubt he'll be out for that long. There's no way he'll be out for that long, but he will miss a couple of races, most likely. That's what I would think anyway, to make sure he gets back to full health before he comes back again. So that's what I would presume. More unfortunate news for RJ Hampshire. It's just bad luck after bad luck after bad luck for him, but luckily, the one good luck situation he has right now is he somehow fell into the championship fight. 250 East has been so crazy. Everybody's had bad luck, so he's in the fight still, and it's still possible for him to win the championship, so that's good news for him. But, yep, that's the story. Most likely, he will be missing the first couple of rounds or so of Pro Motocross to get that plate removed, have a small surgery. So let's move on to the next story. All right, the third story of the day is regarding one that's been in the headlines for weeks now. Everyone's talking about it. Where will Chase Sexton end up next year? Will it be Red Bull KTM once again, or will it be Monster Energy Kawasaki? Everyone seems to think that it's a done deal, him and Kawasaki, but Even Steve Mathis, I believe, said that at one point. He kind of backtracked on that, saying it's not as done as you think. And as Chase progresses this season, he's in a really good situation now. He looks fantastic on the bike. I think that is swaying back to he's probably going to stay at Red Bull KTM. And Ian Harrison spoke with Lewis Phillips after the race, Vital MX, obviously, about this situation, about contract deliberations. He made it sound like it's not as done as we thought. He's pretty much said, yep, we're still in negotiations. And it usually comes down to money. He said, riders don't say it's the money. Oh, it's not always about the money, but it is the money. So it seems to me that now that he's doing good, it's coming down to they're going to have to pay him more, and he will likely stay with Red Bull KTM. I'm thinking he's going to stay with Red Bull KTM. There's no way he can win the championship in Pro Motocross, do this good this late in the season as he figures it out once again, and then defend his title, hopefully, in Pro Motocross. We'll see how that goes.
For the race. Yeah.
And last thing I've got to ask, negotiations are obviously going on with Chase. We don't know what Tom's going to do yet because of championship implications. So no real change from a silly season side, from your side, since the last time we spoke.
Yeah, absolutely. And these things take a while. You know, there's negotiating, and then they're frozen to negotiate with anyone else for a while. And so it just takes a while to go through it. I mean, I hope we can, but, it's tough. And sometimes they say it's not about the money, but generally it's about the money. So, we'll do our best shot, and I can tell you this, myself and my team will work with Chase as hard as we can till the last race he rides on for us, whether that's this year, next year, the year after, whatever it is.
I just don't think he did this much work on the bike, made this much progress, just to throw it away and start over with Kawasaki. I don't see that happening. But hey, you never know with these riders. I'm just leaning towards him staying at Red Bull KTM at this point anyway. That's the latest from Ian Harrison of Red Bull KTM. He said they are still in contract negotiations, and it's a very lively debate between them two. So the debate's still alive. I think there's a high chance he stays with Red Bull KTM. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Some people seem to think otherwise, that he's going to just bail from all this progress he made and move to a whole new team and start over. So let me know your thoughts. All right, on to the next story of the day. This one isn't so much a story as kind of a show-off. I don't know what you would want to call this. Everyone's been wondering, how is Phil Nicoletti doing on the Kawasaki? He did speak about it on Pulp MX, and he said he likes it. Now, I'm not sure if that's truthful or not, because he's getting paid by them. Obviously, he's kind of paid to say he likes it. A lot of riders have said they don't like the Kawasaki, which actually goes back to the last story. It's kind of weird that Chase is so eager, allegedly, to go to Kawasaki when not much has been good said about it anyway. Jeremy Seaward notoriously said that it turns like a cruise ship. So, yeah. Anyway, back to Phil Nicoletti. Not much has been said about how his riding's going. He kind of said he's just rebuilding, kind of building a base, a foundation for the Canadian Motocross Series. But we do have footage. Everyone's been dying to see footage of him. He hasn't posted footage directly himself, but Club MX, where he trains, and his former team, obviously, they did post a couple of clips, so I kind of want to show you guys that today. It's not much, but it's something. If you're all huge Phil Nicoletti fans like myself, you'll appreciate this. So here's some clips of Phil on his new ride. Now let's go back in time quick to look at his history in the Canadian Motocross Series. Obviously, in recent memory, he's been in America for the last 4 years anyways. But going back to 2019, he raced at the time, it was called the Rockstar Energy Triple Crown Championship. Now Rockstar is gone. It's just a Triple Crown Championship up in Canada. Nicoletti ended up winning the 2019 Rockstar Energy Triple Crown title, by accumulating the most combined points between arena cross, supercross, and motocross. That's how they do it up there. Apparently, he was paid $100,000 in bonus in Canadian dollars, which, let me look what that conversion rate is. That's not much, actually. That's less than I thought. Canadian to U.S. So he got 70 grand. Well, it was different at the time, most likely. Actually, no, almost identical. Almost identical 6 years ago. But, so he made about 70 grand by winning that title. He secured the 450 Supercross title within the Triple Crown Series. In motocross, he was highly competitive, achieving 4 podiums in the first 4 races, positioning him as a contender in the national championship. However, his season was marred by disqualification at round 5. I don't know anything about this because I don't watch Canadian motocross. I'm reading a summary of his 2019-2020 season. So apparently he was disqualified at round 5 due to an altercation with Nicoletti. I didn't know about that, actually. That's pretty wild. I'm going to have to dig into that to know more about this situation. Anything involving Nicoletti is interesting, especially with Phil, so I'm going to have to look into this one. I guess that day he finished second in points second place in Moto 2, but he received 0 points, obviously, due to that penalty. And then on to the arena cross. Apparently, he kicked off the Triple Crown Tour in Abbotsford. Don't know where that is. With a 4th place finish in the 450 final, showing his consistency in challenging track conditions. Again, I don't know much about Canadian motocross, supercross, arena cross. That's not my thing, but we're just going to go back, take a look at where he went, what his history was throughout this, coming into his return this year. Then in 2020, Motocross Championship, Nicoletti was again in contention for the Canadian Motocross Championship, starting strong with podium finishes early in the season. However, a severe hand injury sustained during a mid-air collision with Dylan Wright at the final round ended the season prematurely. This forced him to forfeit the race and conclude his season early. And then he ended up back at Club MX Yamaha and raced the next 4 years and final 4 years of his professional career in America with Club. So that's kind of just a summary of his history in the Canadian series. I mentioned Dylan Wright there. I do know him. That's one thing I know about Canadian motocross. It's crazy to see that that was his main contender or main rival back then, and that's going to be his main rival again by the sounds of it in 2025. So that's pretty crazy to see. But yep, Nicoletti is returning this year with his Walton Kawasaki 450. He didn't say much about his game plan. He's just kind of going up there, obviously making money. Money is his big thing right now. By the sounds of it, he doesn't sound too eager about winning the championship. I don't know if he even thinks he can. Like, he doesn't sound very confident when he talks about going up there and racing. Maybe he's just, undercutting himself, underselling himself. Maybe he does expect to win. I don't really know. But he doesn't seem like he wants to go out there and try his best and win. He seems like, I just want to get some podiums, be in contention, battle up there. That's kind of his attitude from what I'm reading out of it. Maybe it's not. Maybe he does want to win the title. I don't know. Obviously, I'm pumped to see it. I'm glad to see Phil racing in general. We all love Phil Nicoletti, and we are all saddened by him retiring. I'm glad to see he's coming out kind of out of retirement anyway. So that's good to see. I'm probably going to have to watch some Canadian motocross just for Phil. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird seeing him on green. Doesn't look right to me, but we'll get used to it over time. So yeah, pumped to see Phil back and can't wait to see what he's got this summer in the Canadian Triple Crown Series. Alrighty, on to another rough story. This one hasn't been talked about as much as the Jerry Robin one for obvious reasons. Jerry's prominent privateer, professional rider, and this person's just a young athlete. A legend of our sport, Chad Reed. His daughter, Kiah, had a major crash a few days ago, similar to Jerry Robbins' incident. Kiah had a crash, breaking her back, lots of vertebrae. Luckily for her, no spinal cord injury. So this all started with Chad's wife, Ellie Reed, posting this. She said, quote, "Friends, we've had ourselves a day. She's finally asleep, and I can sit here and cry without her seeing me. A prayer, a good vibe, and some loves sent to Kiah would be appreciated. Earlier today, she had a crash during practice. We took her to the hospital thinking lungs, ribs. Nope. Sis had compression fractures of her T6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 vertebrae. They also had concerns of the renal artery being compressed. However, we have learned that part might be congenital, so we'll discuss with vascular tomorrow. We were transported via ambulance to a children's hospital an hour away, and she was she had MRI and admitted in the PICU, Pediatric Intensive Care. Pending the results of her MRI, they will determine if she needs surgery tomorrow. I waited to share anything because I've been waiting hours for answers. I'm still waiting, but I know she could use the love right now. She's tough. As a typical Reed, she cried harder facing the reality of missing racing and less about her pain. All the good vibes and prayers to avoid surgery and heal on her own, my sweet girl. So that's where this story started. She had a practice crash, and they didn't think it was going to be that bad. Turns out to be really bad. Luckily, as the story progressed, we got good news. Shortly thereafter, she said, quote, latest update, just talked with the doctor, and it has been decided that Kiah will be having surgery tomorrow morning, approximately 8 a.m. I have to share that news with her in the morning. So she had to have surgery, and the surgery turned out fantastic, which is the good news. She then gave an update 2 days ago, Saturday, about 8 hours post-surgery. As I typed this, most important, everything went well. In a nutshell, she had a spine fusion. Pain can be tough to manage post-surgery, coming off anesthesia, pain meds wearing off, etc. So she was feeling pretty rough on and off all afternoon. She was given some morphine, which we have been staying away from, anything heavy, but it was needed at the time, so she got a little bit funny from the meds. Tate was standing over her, and she was sleeping peacefully, and then she started pulling all these funny faces, tongue out, eyes rolling, trying to freak her brother out or make him laugh. Both applied. She yells out, quote, doctor said I need a bacchiotomy. And Tate lost it with laughter. It was good to see that they're actually making light of a horrible situation. There's nothing else you can really do in this situation. Anyway, back to it. The boys got to see their sister's normal, funny ways for a bit, and for a minute they stopped worrying. We got to chat a bit about writing about the incident, about normal things. These are all healing moments for all involved. She's hurting for sure, and it's been rough between pain meds wearing off, but her spirit is well, and every day she'll get stronger and better. She got fitted for a brace today. That's the cast picture. She is stable. I'll put that up on screen. The cast is rough. It's a full body cast, obviously. She is stable after the surgery, but they wanted her to have one as a reminder not to get too active too quickly. Sorry. Thank you for all the love and support. The messages from all over. Her world is incredible. It means so much to our family. The love she has surrounding her is magical. Thank you all so much. So we got some good news a couple of days after the surgery went well, and it's going to be a long recovery, but sounds good. Yesterday we got further good news. Again, Ellie Reed gave an update, and she said, I absolutely hate that my baby girl has metal in her body, but if we're going to have it, then we shall have the TI-22 titanium. That's pretty ironic. Cool, I guess. As cool as it could get for the situation. 2 rods, 9 screws. They look huge in this picture, which, yep, I'll throw that on screen. They do. Pain sucks, and we're getting her comfortable as we can. First few days are always the worst. She is finally snoring. The girls' team holding up the fort here at the hospital. The guys' team at the RV still about an hour away. Letting our boys have a normal, quote, normal day. Tate riding today, and Pace riding his Suron. Hospitals are boring and are for sick people. So keeping my kids in some phase of normal has always been my goal, no matter what I was going through with Chad's injuries when they were growing up. I did my best to keep business as normal for them, so we will continue to do the same for them. It's nice we have an attending physician who is a fan of Supercross, so when he checks in later today, we promise no spoilers when the race is on today. It's pretty awesome having nurses and doctors who get the sport we do. One this morning said, quote, maybe you should find another hobby. I told Kiah that it's okay. As much as I hate this part, I get to see all the good in this sport. Trauma surgeons only get to see the worst, because if he knew the best parts of the sport, he'd know why we're all here. She then continues to say thank you to everyone who reached out and saying that it wasn't the Easter they wanted, but that's the Easter they got, and they're going to live with it. Anyway, we do have the first footage yesterday for Easter. The whole family was there, obviously, and we do have a good video of some happiness out of the situations, making some light of it. Her father, Chad, was there, and they had a friendly competition in the hospital, and Ellie recorded the video of it, so I figured I'd show you that, too, to show that she's in good spirits and having fun with her family, which is really good to see, obviously. So here's that.
Yeah, but you gotta hold it in the middle part where it's...
You gotta hold it up straight.
Oh, bro.
Dude, I didn't get it.
No wonder we can't go 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, look at mine. I need that nose piece thing.
Oh my god.
Kai would like the nose thing.
Well, it's at the house, and we were supposed to be at the house right now.
On to today, and things are still looking good for Kiah Reed. They are getting better as time goes on, and they moved from the pediatric intensive care unit to a regular hospital room, which is obviously fantastic to see, and they even let her go outside today. Getting some vitamin D, obviously, is fantastic. I'll throw that picture up. There is a picture of her with her father. She's obviously in the wheelchair outside with her father, but things are going in the right direction. Obviously, it's a horrible situation. Back injuries are bad no matter which way you look at it, and it's gonna probably be a small problem, aches and pains and whatever you might have throughout her life. So that's obviously horrible, but I'm glad to see the recovery's going great, or as good as it could be. So that ends the bad stories of the day. We're wishing Kiah the best. We're wishing the whole Reed family the best in this situation. It's a horrible situation, but it's looking like it's heading the right direction. So get well soon, Kiah. We're all backing you. We're all wishing you the best. Alrighty, on to the next story of the day. It has been rumored that Antonio Cairoli, the legendary MXGP rider, would be making the Ducati debut in America this summer during Pro Motocross. Now, that's been the rumor, and Ducati did say they were going to debut it this summer in Pro Motocross, but everything hasn't been confirmed yet. Well, Antonio Cairoli, after Trentino, spoke about this plan in an interview with GateDrop.com. Antonio Cairoli confirmed his plans to race the Ducati in the US Pro Motocross Series this summer, but they have to get a certain amount of bikes built. As you know, we have rules. The AMA has rules on this. A certain amount of bikes have to be built production-wise. That's the rule we have here anyway. So they're uncertain when exactly he's going to show up. Cairoli said he would also like to do the British GP at Matterley Basin, which was rumored as well, alongside Red Bud. Red Bud was the rumored race he'd be showing up here in Pro Motocross. That's uncertain, though. Anyway, that is the plan as of now, is a Pro Motocross round, uncertain, but Red Bud was the goal, and then another GP round. They already did Trentino, Matterley Basin. Then we have the linked riders here that are going to be signing with Ducati, allegedly, is Eli Tomac and Justin Barcia. Roczen was in the conversation for a while, but that seems to have drifted away out of the conversation. It seems he will be staying with Suzuki, likely anyway. But yeah, right now, Justin Barcia and Tomac are the most likely to be signing with Ducati here in the United States, but Cairoli will be making the debut this summer. Cairoli said in the interview with GateDrop.com, quote, "My plan was to do more racing. We didn't exactly plan which or what, but around some time I want to race more races. Let's say maybe another 2 or 3 rounds. Maybe the US if we can find a good compromise, because the bike needs to be on sale first there. Otherwise, you cannot race. So the bike around the end of June will be in the market in the United States. After that, we can see which race we can maybe attend, and maybe some more, and one more MXGP. I would love to do Matterley Basin. It is one of my favorite tracks. At the moment, we have no real plan, but I will do more racing. Yeah." Now, last weekend in Trentino wasn't the first time that Cairoli raced the Ducati on a professional level. He did race it in Arnhem, Netherlands last year as well, and that didn't go too well for him. It was pretty bad. Although it was partially due to some mistakes, a lot of it was the bike. He said that it was horrible in the sand, but now they have fixed that, allegedly. He continued in this interview with the Gate Drop saying, quote, "It's a completely different bike now. It's a very rideable bike before, and the sand was almost impossible to ride. So I was really, really struggling a lot. We had some prototype parts on. We didn't really ride sand with that before, so we just go there because I really want to see which direction to take with the bike. On one side, it was good because I struggled a lot, but I understand which direction I will go with the bike. And after that, I take a good direction, and now today in Arco, it was a very competitive bike. I think if you have a fit rider, a fast rider, you can easily be on the podium. For sure, the Ducati will end up on the podium, obviously, if they have good riders like Justin Barcia or Eli Tomac here in the United States. But even in MXGP, they came very close to getting a podium this season, with Mattia Guadagnini getting 4th place before getting injured. So Guadagnini has proven how good the bike is thus far, but we have yet to see them make it on the podium. I'm certain it'll happen very soon. But yeah, that's the latest. Antonio Cairoli, the legend, 9-time world champ. He will be making Ducati's debut here in the U.S. this summer. Hopefully, Red Bud. That's the rumor anyway. All right, let's now get political. Not too political, but motocross has been struggling in recent years. It's been getting progressively worse and worse. You guys know lots of tracks are getting shut down countrywide, primarily in states like California. And then in Europe, lots of tracks are getting shut down. A good example, Belgium. Belgium used to have, I believe, don't quote me, I believe around 100 tracks, motocross tracks, and they're down to a couple. And the legendary Lama Wood track is getting shut down as well for political reasons. So, what are the reasons our sport is getting attacked, our tracks are being closed? Reason number one, liability and climate change regulations. That's reason number one. That has impacted both us here in the United States and in Europe alike. Obviously, like I said, the good examples are California and Belgium. The second big reason is noise regulation. Noise regulation is huge. But yeah, the biggest one is the climate and liability regulations. So, right now, our sport is being attacked. In Belgium, it's primarily the noise regulation. That's what they're using against Lommel anyway. But a lot of it is also climate change regulations, laws. Belgium is notoriously a very liberal, left-leaning, whichever political terminology you want to use on that one. I'm not going to get too far into it, but you know what I'm saying. They are very climate change oriented. So that is impacting our sport over in Belgium as well. Onto here in the United States. In California, it's not primarily the climate change thing that's impacting motocross, but it will be illegal starting 2035. So within the next decade, dirt bikes will be potentially illegal, completely banned in California. Obviously, except electric vehicles. They are making a huge push against zero emission, electric, whatever. They don't specifically name dirt bikes in there, I don't believe, in that legislation, but obviously I would assume that it would fall under that regulation. I'd have to read into it more. I believe it's called, it's under the California Air Resources Board, but I don't know the exact name of the legislation that was passed on this. But you can look it up. It's a pretty well-known situation. So that's number one that's attacking our sport in California. But the number two one is liability. Liability regulations are extremely stringent in left-leaning liberal states. For example, this is personal experience. We are based in New York State. I live in New York State. And in New York State, you can't really ride anywhere during the week. It doesn't exist. Not in summer, obviously not in winter. It doesn't really exist. There's hardly any tracks that are open more than one day, maybe 2 days, so the weekend. Maybe. Why is that? Because insurance is through the roof. It is unbelievably expensive because of the liability rules and regulations here, and it is similar in California. So that's how our sport is being attacked. I just wanted to give you guys context on this story. Now, there is a law that is helping fix this problem, head in the right direction, and that is Arkansas passing Act 312. It is an inherent risk legislation. Now, this is a relatively right or conservative leaning state, so it fits in with that agenda. So it'll be a long time before we see laws like this or legislation like this being passed in states like New York or California. But it is progress, a step in the right direction for our sport. So let me tell you about Act 312. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders signed Act 312 into law on March 18th, establishing inherent risk for off-road motorcyclists and enhancing protections for event organizers throughout the state. The American Motorcyclist Association applauds the passage of Act 12, which offers greater protection for private landowners who provide access to their land for off-road recreation and competition. Act 312 will create a more sustainable liability landscape for event organizers throughout Arkansas, as it ensures a smoother legal process in the case of injury for all involved in off-road events in the state. AMA Central States Representative Nick Sands said, quote, "We're encouraged to see this legislation pass in Arkansas and hope to see similar laws continue to progress throughout the country. Inherent risk refers to the capacity for risk naturally associated with a process or activity without any risk reduction efforts. Inherent risk of an activity cannot be effectively eliminated or controlled and becomes important when assessing liability of voluntary participants. With this law, the rider takes individual responsibility for their own safety, and facility owners take responsibility for their own liability. So when an accident does occur, fault can be clearly identified. This law helps riders by requiring safe riding areas while also benefiting landowners and organizers because they have assurances that the rider enters their facility knowing they have a responsibility to ride within their own skill and ability." So I'm not going to get into the full nitty-gritty of this law, but basically it makes it pretty cut and dry, simple. You know motocross is dangerous, or four-wheeler or whatever, recreational activity. but this does affect motocross specifically. So you know it is dangerous to go ride a dirt bike. That's on you. But the track does have to be safe. The facility has to be safe. So as long as those both parts are understood, it is clarified, both sides understand the risk involved in the situation, this reduces legal problems. So this really helps our sport. I wish this would transfer over to more left-leaning states. Hopefully that can happen in the future. But for now, Arkansas, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, congrats. Thank you. You are single-handedly helping our sport. You are the only state thus far, I think, in recent memory passing legislation that will help our sport specifically. So congrats to Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Arkansas. If you guys know anything that is specifically hurting our sport in your state or area, put it in the comments. If you're watching in Europe, please tell us about your country as well. I know it's different over there. Tell us in the comments down below. I would love to dive in deeper on this topic, but that's just a surface level explanation and how Arkansas Act 312 is going to help our sport. Anyway, on to the next story. The next couple of stories come from post-race interviews with Swap Moto Live. He spoke to a variety of people after East Rutherford, but I wanted to talk about a couple specific topics, couple specific riders. The first one is more of a rant. That's kind of all it is, and that is regarding Benny Bloss. Benny Bloss did mention that at one point he was being lapped. It was a horrible race for him. He had a lot of crashes. At one point he ran into a TV cable. You could see that on the race. I didn't know what it was. It looked like twine or something at the time, but come to find out it was a cable that wrapped around his rear tire, and every time he would hit the throttle, it'd whip him in the leg. So that was a problem he had, but my rant is more specifically about the mentality. He said at one point he was getting lapped by the leaders, and he didn't want to be the guy to try to unlap himself, so he just let off, stepped aside, and then continued his race, which wasn't very good. That mentality, that's a motocross-specific thing, in my opinion. I don't watch many other sports. I do watch NASCAR. I'm more of a casual viewer of NASCAR. I'm not into the nitty-gritty of that sport, but in NASCAR, lapping is a common topic. And it's not like motocross where everyone's kind of say like, oh, screw you lappers, you're nobody, oh, get out of the way kind of deal. In NASCAR, the announcers and the drivers, the leader of the race, they know that once they come up to a lapper, they got their hands full. It's not in Supercross where they're like, oh, you better move to the side of the track and basically stop and let me by because I'm winning this race. It's my race. In NASCAR, they kind of look at it like, yes, you're the leader. Yes, you're winning the race, but I have my own deals. I have my own obligations. I have my own sponsors I have to represent. I might be in 20th getting lapped, but I'm still in this race. I'm still racing for me. I'm not winning, but I'm racing for me. So once you get lapped, you're kind of screwed. So you do your best to not get lapped. In NASCAR, it's a common occurrence where the leader comes up on a lapper, and that lapper, if they know they can do better, if they didn't just give up, if they still think they can pass a few guys, make some progress, they're not going to just let the leader go by. So I don't know what this mentality is in Supercross and motocross where everyone's just kind of like, oh, you're a lapper, you're a nobody, you're in the way, get out of the way. It's irritating, and when Benny said it, it was kind of like giving up. The way he made it sound was him giving up, and I hated to hear it. So that's kind of my little rant for the day there. I just wanted to get that off my chest. But anyway, here's him speaking about that.
Next two qualifiers, pretty good. Not great. Felt okay. Never really felt great on the track all day. Heat race was going pretty good. Jumped in between the whoops and the rhythm section. I'm told they showed it on TV. I haven't watched. I got some type of like TV wire stuck in the rear wheel, like in my hub.
Oh, no.
And it was like kind of dragging. And dude, that wire would like the tire would spin real quick, and that wire was coming up and like slapping me, whipping me. So that was cool. I think I did like 4 laps like that. And then crashed early in the main event, like probably 3rd or 4th lap. Got up, was way last. Caught a group of guys. Felt like I was riding pretty good. Felt like I was actually doing good in the whoops. Like that was the one spot on the track where I felt really good. Like some guys would lap me, and then I'd have to like slow up at the end of the whoops to not go back by, which is weird because you don't want to be that guy that like, unlaps yourself, right? Yeah. And then the dirt in the transitions was like pretty grabby, and
So, yeah, I just don't like that mentality, and I'm over this attitude towards lappers as if they don't matter, as if their race isn't. It doesn't matter. It's annoying. It's annoying to me. If I'm in 18th place and I have my own sponsors that I have to represent and I have to make money to make it to the next race, whatever, that's on me. I have to do the best for me. Cooper Webb, Chase Sexton, yeah, if they're the best guy on the track, it's their job to get by me, okay? If I make it hard for them to get by me, well, that's on them. As long as they're not doing something stupid like, hitting each other, getting aggressive, don't do that. But I'm saying if they are legitimately battling to lap a lapped rider, I don't see the problem with that. But a lot of people do. So, yeah, that's my rant for the day. Let me know your thoughts on that topic in the comments down below. Let's move on. All right, on to my final little behind-the-scenes sort of talk before I get to a generic talk about the championship fight. Colt Nichols. Colt Nichols hasn't really been a topic of conversation this year. He's had a rough season thus far, that's for sure. But he's making progress. It might not look like it on paper. He didn't have a great weekend this past weekend, but he is making progress. He spoke with Swap Moto Live after the race, and he said that he has gone back to an air suspension, and he likes it. He really likes it. He feels comfortable for the first time all year. What's really holding him back is the starts. So that is great to hear. Colt Nichols, obviously a regional champion. He used to be a prominent name in the sport, and he's kind of fallen off that. But I'm hoping this is a step in the right direction. I like to look at everybody from first to last. So that's good news, and I'm hoping that he can really recover from this scenario. It sucks to see Colt way in the back. I know he can do better than that, and obviously it's not the bike. We know that the Suzuki isn't a bad bike because Kenny is killing it right now. So you can't use that excuse. Suzuki's a great bike. But, yeah, that's the latest on Colt Nichols. He is making progress and looking forward to the next few rounds as long as he can get his starts dialed in.
Yeah, we got a little halted. It was still okay, but just kind of was a struggle all day, honestly. This track was kind of tough to get a flow on unless you were really doing some of the bigger lines and nailing the whoops pretty good. And, that jump line was really tough to get consistent. And, the main event was straight up just tough. I keep starting in last every weekend, and that's not going to get it done. So it's that part's really frustrating. I feel like I'm riding up from about 20th to 13th every weekend, so that's kind of frustrating. But yeah, it is what it is. We'll try again. Got a few more to go and see if we can't try and get back in the top 10 and hopefully stay there these next few.
Alrighty, this is going to be the final topic of conversation, story, if you want to say that, for the today's video. The title feeling. The noise around the title race has kind of changed this weekend. After Daytona, I kind of said, yeah, it's Coop. Coop's got it. There's no chance because he's good at playing mind games. Fantastic at playing mind games. Actually, head to the mxnetwork.store. Quick little plug. Our most recent issue is from a few weeks ago called Mind Games regarding Cooper Webb. So go buy a copy. Anyway, back to talking about Cooper Webb. He's notorious for playing mind games. We all know that. Him in the past with Cooper Webb. This year with Sexton. He got Sexton to a really low point a few weeks ago. Now, Sexton has bounced back and proved that he's the fastest guy on the track and that he can hold himself back from mistakes at least for a couple weeks in a row, which is fantastic progress. But Sexton is in a good headspace. And for the first time, I think ever, while Coop's in a championship fight, he looks like he's on the back foot. You looked at him last week after finishing behind Sexton, and he looked miserable. He dropped the F-bomb when he got off his bike. He was miserable. He thought he could get him, and he didn't. And Chase obviously came over the finish line, gave him the good old finger guns, give it back to him. And then I believe, was it the press conference or was it the post-race? I can't remember where, but Coop did say, I'm still healing from my gun wounds from that race. So there's that. And then this weekend, he had nothing for him.
We'll come back next weekend and kick his ass, though.
It's been a tough week recovering from my gunshot wounds. Hopefully that heals quick. But
for Chase Sexton, he keeps his championship hopes alive. The points leader, Cooper Webb, is a distant second, but will bring home valuable points.
Coop did say, I thought I was just as fast as him everywhere on the track except the whoops, which is fair. The whoops did hold him back a lot, so it could have been just the whoops. But either way, Sexton beat him by 20 seconds. In a championship fight, that's brutal. And with 4 rounds remaining, if all he's got to do is place first and second, if Sexton keeps us rolling, just beat him by one position, first and second, and he's got the title. So Webb's in a bad spot right now, I think. And you can see it in the post-race interviews, or post-race press conference, sorry. Webb looks down for the first time in a long time. I can't remember him looking like this, especially in a championship fight. So, yeah, I think for the first time in a long time, Cooper Webb is on the back foot. And as long as Chase Sexton can keep it on two wheels and remain doing what he's doing, he might have it. So this might have swayed my opinion. I think Chase Sexton is the championship favorite now. So that's it for today. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Do you think Chase Sexton is the title favorite? Let me know about every story in today's video. Obviously, Jerry Robbins' injury, Kiah Reed's injury. Let us know your thoughts on all that down below. Don't forget, if you want to support our work, head to the MXNetwork.store. We've got a Cooper Webb edition right here, issue number 11. We got plenty of those available. 12, Joe Show. 13, Beast Mode. And then, obviously, we have 14, 15, 16, and 17, I think, in production. They're up for pre-order on the MXNetwork.store. Order them now, and we'll ship them out as soon as we get them. If you're listening on audio, you can watch us on YouTube, the Motocross Network. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to listen on audio, Pocket Casts, Radio Player, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Motocross Network. And then, of course, if you want to read, if you don't like listening or watching us, fair, my voice can get annoying. You can read all of our articles on Instagram, Facebook, X, or the MXNetwork.com. So, yeah. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.